Oh, okay, well, welcome back, everybody. And it is my pleasure to introduce our final speaker. So, once again, in the Power of Community, I actually met this speaker at the MedTech conference in Toronto that is held by AdvaMed. And so, just walking around and networking and talking to people, I ran across Shaherah Yancy. She is a seasoned industry leader, a clinical scientist, and an entrepreneur with over 20 years of experience spanning the healthcare ecosystem. She's got a proven track record of delivering strategic healthcare and life science solutions across
Up, up.
medtech and pharma sectors. So her expertise lies in building and leading high-performing global teams, driving growth strategies, and optimizing operations for sustainable organizational success. During her tenure with Medtronic, Smith and Nephew, and Stryker, she served as head of clinical and regulatory business units and managed portfolios of 200 plus products across US, Europe, and China. So, as the founder and CEO of now a global biotech consulting firm, she focuses on helping startups and emerging medtech and pharma companies achieve successful commercialization and long-term market impact. Beyond her professional pursuits, she's committed to increasing representation in clinical research. She serves as a mentor, a value coach, and adjunct professor, supporting future leaders in clinical research and strategic regulatory compliance at Vanderbilt, the MedTech Innovator, MedTech Color, and Meharry Medical College. So we're going to welcome Shaherah.
All right. Good day, and thank you so much for having me here to speak to the Diversity by Doing organization or program. I'm very excited to be here. My name is Shaherah Yancy, and just tell you a little story about my journey and myself. So I like to title this presentation From Secretary to Scientist because it is the best way that I can explain my journey and my career and how I got to where I am. So first of all, who is Shaherah? Much like many of us, I wear many hats. I am a dedicated wife and a very involved mother of two children, one adult and one almost an adult. I'm also Shaherah, the CEO. I lead a company, Research Lifecycle Solutions. I am a scientist. I am also a community servant. And these are just two organizations where I dedicate the bulk of my community service to. So I am a proud member of the Links Incorporated as well as Jack and Jill of America Incorporated. So before I jump in, as I mentioned, I would love to invite you to take this journey with me and just share my road to exactly where I am today. But before I get started, it's important to know my journey is nonlinear. I wasn't that person that started out knowing exactly what I want to do and what I wanted to be in life. And again, I know that's a lot of people's story, but it's definitely my story. My path wasn't easy. Lots of ebbs, lots of flows, but nonetheless, everything that I achieved, every test that I had, whether it was a peak or a valley, it's baked in and it made me the person that I am today. So I'll take you on this journey with me. The secretary. So I'll start at the beginning of my career. So when I started college, I had this big idea of I want to be a computer engineer. Now that was back in the 90s. And if you recall, for some of us, if you recall back in the 90s, Y2K was on the horizon. So the entire conversation was about how computers are going to take over the world and you better be technological savvy and things of that nature. So you'll always have a job if you're in computers. I don't debate that, but I wanted to be a computer engineer because I felt I was going to make a difference in that world. So here I am in college. 2 years later, I figured out I don't want to do computers. I don't want to be a computer engineer anymore. It's great, but that's not for me. So I wanted to ensure that I leveraged that 2-year education. So instead of just pivoting and picking up another major, I decided let's close this one out. So I obtained a technical degree, an associate's degree in computer engineering, which I'm very proud of. Now, the funny thing about a computer engineering degree from the 90s is it may not be as relevant today because technology has evolved so much, but it gave me a really, really good foundation. But nonetheless, during this time, I was hired at the University of Tennessee Health Science Center. I was hired as a secretary. Again, we're talking the 90s. We were still considered secretaries before the word evolved into administrative assistant. So the role of a secretary, take notes at meetings, ensure the schedule is appropriate, things of that nature. So you're just kind of walking behind somebody and assisting them in doing what they do so that they can do their job well. So as a secretary to Dr. Gaber, as you see below, he was or still is, I should say, a world-renowned researcher, known all over the world, came over to the US from Cairo, Egypt, and took over the research world. At the same time, he was the head of transplantation surgery. So heavily involved in research as well as the clinical applications of things. So as his secretary, I spent time making sure the schedule was appropriate, but nonetheless, because he wore so many hats, that brought me into his world. And again, during this time, we didn't have a better way of transcribing, so we used dictaphones. And so my job was to transcribe everything he spoke into the dictaphone, even with his accent barrier. So while doing that, I learned research. I learned all about the clinical aspect. I learned about how he's in the lab and how that translates to the patients at bedside. So instead of assisting or being a secretary, I was busy learning. Dr. Gaber saw that in me. So he told me, this is just my quick story. So he told me one day, you know what? You are too smart and you have way too much to offer to simply be my secretary. Now, that's no offense to a secretary. That's just in the world that we live in. He saw something extra in me to where he could leverage and utilize. So he began to show me the ropes of research. Again, I have a computer engineering degree. I am a secretary, but I'm learning research at the same time. I am so grateful for Dr. Gaber today for being my mentor. That's why you see him here. He saw that in me and he encouraged me to do more. And he showed me the ropes regardless of my educational background. So that's one importance of mentorship. Now, you would think, all right, you're still in college. You're able to transfer your major. Surely you're going to major in biology or chemistry or something of that nature to support research. No, I didn't. That's because I didn't believe in myself just yet. Someone else believed in me, but I didn't believe in myself. Why didn't I believe in myself? Because I didn't see myself. I didn't see people like me. I didn't see, and let's face it, I was a very young brown girl. I didn't see that in the field of research. So I was highly intimidated. So I completed my undergrad in business administration, which I'm very, very proud of, but that's what I did. Now, the researcher. So after working with Dr. Gaber at the University of Tennessee for several years, now I have this experience. I understand research. It's now time for me to make my next move. So I was hired at St. Jude Children's Research Hospital in the Pharmaceutical Sciences Department. I was hired as a program manager, and in that role, I was responsible for our grants. I was responsible for manuscripts, working with postdocs and such in the lab on basic research. Basically the same thing I learned before, basic research. After doing that for a while, my mentor here, Dr. Mary Relling, who is such a great woman, she worked for St. Jude as well as the chair of the pharmaceutical department. She saw something in me. Now, I'll take a step back. I keep saying someone saw something in me, but that was not without purpose. I took on stretch assignments. I wanted to do more. As I learned, I did more. Regardless of what my job called for, I wanted to do more. I had this burning desire to do research, and this was my way of doing research under the guise of other job titles. So as a program manager, I was managing millions of dollars for grants, working with PIs from all over the world, bringing them together in order to facilitate our research at St. Jude. Now, at this point, I want to understand now beyond research, where is all this research going? So that became translational research at St. Jude. So my mentor encouraged me to do so. I wanted to learn the other side. So she said, hey, let me help you do that. Because I went to her and said, this is what I have an interest in. And she said, I will definitely help you do that. Based on your stretch assignments and the things that you've been doing, I will definitely facilitate that. So now I'm in translational research. I get to see where all that wonderful knowledge and all of these papers that we've been writing, how do we implement that into patients? So that was my next journey, becoming an official researcher. Now, you would ask the question, all right, I want more education. I'm going back to school. I would love to have a master's degree, right? You're going to get a master's degree in biology, chemistry, some type of research, right? No, I did not. I obtained my master's degree in business administration, which I am, again, very, very proud of because I developed a background of business and efficiencies and things of that nature, strategies. So yes, a master's degree was great. But in my heart, I really, really wanted to go after the science. Yet again, I did not have the belief in myself, although someone else believed in me. I hope you can see the theme here about my mentors. They believe in me when I didn't believe in myself. And there's another thing. My mentors are not only people that look like me, I have other people that are mentoring. So it's very important to ensure that you relate to people, that everybody do not have to be the same person. We don't have to be the same to help each other out. So now I have a business degree, master's of business administration, but I still want more education. What else can I do? Instead of pursuing what I really wanted to do, let's do a certification in project management. Project management is very near and dear to my heart. And also, same thing, certified clinical researcher. So I did everything around being a researcher except going for it and getting that degree that I actually wanted. Okay, so here we are, the scientist. So after working for St. Jude Children's Research Hospital for about 10 years, I became interested in life sciences. So that's when I was introduced to the world of medtech. I was hired at Medtronic in the role. After Medtronic, I worked for Smith & Nephew, and after Smith & Nephew, I worked for Stryker. All in those roles, I was the head of global clinical and research. But here's the caveat. I wasn't hired at Medtronic as the head of global and clinical research. I was yet hired as a program manager for clinical in spine and biologics. My role was to create those efficiencies around how we do clinical research, right? So again, always be in learning mode. What they hired me for, I went to my boss and said, hey, I know you hired me for this, but I believe we need that. So I created the first clinical project management office. So thereby utilizing both parts of my background from a business perspective as well as a researcher perspective, putting those together. And that's how I became the head of global clinical and regulatory for Medtronic, and also recruited to the other organizations. I led global studies. I learned regulations around the world from the US to Europe, China, Canada, and Australia. So spent a lot of time understanding now translational research or clinical research and being more into the science, right? So as you see below, my mentors, several people. I didn't only have one mentor. But here's the thing about mentorship. As you move up and become at the executive level, it become increasingly, I would say, a little bit more difficult or interesting finding the right mentor. So several people became my mentor for good or bad. This is where I learned in the world of mentorship. Every mentor, you may not learn something that you want to keep with you or mimic. You may learn what not to do in the world. So I am seeking a mentor at this point in my life to tell me how to be a better leader. But I learned that through several people and just being involved with multiple people from around the world. So I had multiple mentors, not just one. So there are more ways for mentorship than just a one-on-one relationship. But here's the prize. Finally, I said, you know what, Shaherah, go to school and get that science degree that you want. So I enrolled at Morehouse School of Medicine and I obtained my degree in biotechnology. I was so proud of myself. Very, very happy. Very happy. So now, after becoming a scientist, now introducing you to Shaherah, the CEO. I am the CEO of Research Lifecycle Solutions, but not only the CEO, I founded the company. So Research Lifecycle Solutions was founded, as you can see here, to address the low success rate in life science companies. As we know, the success rate is very low. 90% will fail. They've failed, so that's data. So that's where we are today. The mission of our company is to identify and support these promising startup companies by delivering all of the strategic aspects that helps them to become successful. I just went through my journey to say I take all of that background from science, technical, business management, regulatory, put all of that together and deliver the strategies that early companies need to really succeed in the market, to get to market, but also to succeed in the market. So that's what we do at Research Lifecycle Solutions. Now, I want to call out something very important. As a CEO, we still need mentors. I do have a mentor, and as you can see, he's listed here at the bottom. So he's a mentor, not from a scientific standpoint, but from this entrepreneurial journey to really help me understand the ropes. So you always need a mentor, if I may add that. So a few takeaways. A few themes I would say from my journey that I would like to share with you. Number one, believe in yourself. It may be easier said than done, but I understand when you don't believe in yourself, the real impact of that. So that's why it was important for me to have certain mentors to push me along the way. I believed in myself. I would say I positioned myself as I believed in myself, but internally, I just didn't. So I would love to tell people today, believe in yourself. You can do it. Number two, find a mentor. Now, in my case, I didn't always find a mentor. We just kind of gelled. We met, they saw something in me, and they just became my mentor. It wasn't an official relationship. Hey, will you mentor me? But I just want to drive home. Have a mentor, and your mentor does not always have to look like you. So, as you saw in my journey, I had various different mentors. So find yourself a mentor. But very important, number three, know how to be a mentee. Being a mentee doesn't mean you sit in front of your mentor and they just download everything to you. No, you showcase your skill set, you showcase your interests, you be clear on what you want and let them help you along the way. So learn how to be a mentee and learn how to position yourself to listen. That brings me to number four, listen more than you speak. In my entire career, regardless if I'm moving through the ranks, someone knows more than me in the room. Maybe someone does not know what I know. But the point is, I'm listening on every end and reading the room so that I can take that knowledge and make myself better, right? To improve myself. So learn to listen more than you speak. Always learn. Throughout my journey, no matter what I'm doing, I am learning. Today, as a mentor myself, I'm still a mentee, but as a mentor, I don't only download into my mentees. I learn from them as well. There's always something to learn from the next generation. And lastly, pay it forward. Today, I am a mentor for various institutions such as Vanderbilt University, University Science Center in Philadelphia, WashU in St. Louis, the MedTech Innovator. I can go on, but paying it forward to be someone's mentor and show them the ropes. So that brings me to the end of my journey, my presentation. Thank you very, very much for listening. And again, I'm so happy to be here and I'm excited to support your journey in any way I can. Thank you.